Good afternoon or evening, wherever you are. I'm Deborah Roth from Spirited Living and delighted to be here with you again as we dance with our divinely feminine wisdom. And what I attempt to do here is to really bring back the notion that we all hold that wisdom within us, male or female, and we can call on our, hello Anna, we can call on our inner goddess, however she shows up, as a way to really bring back that divinely feminine energy into our lives, into the world, which boy do we need that now. And when I talk about that, and you can always look at my website to read more about what do we mean by divinely feminine wisdom. And yes, there is divinely masculine wisdom too. And what we really want to do is be sure that we're operating in the highest vibration of both of those. Divinely feminine wisdom is all about collaboration, cooperation, honoring and trusting our intuition, our emotions. It's more right brain, creative, intuitively connected. Divinely masculine wisdom is probably a little more left brain connected, logical, rational, active, full steam ahead, as opposed to receptive, which is more divinely feminine wisdom. So, with that little bit of context, what I decided I wanted to do for the month of December, I always kind of float and see who wants to bubble up, is at first I thought I was going to do all light or sun-based goddesses. And there aren't a whole lot of sun goddesses. Mostly the sun is represented really in cultures around the world by gods. There are a handful, and I'll hit a couple of them this month. But then, then I discovered as I looked a little deeper that who really wanted to bubble up today is a goddess that I didn't know that much about. I've certainly heard of her, but her feast day is tomorrow, and her name is Bona Dea, which basically is good goddess. She was a Roman goddess and was specifically, particularly in charge of, dedicated to women. And in fact, on her feast day, men were not allowed, not even male dogs and cats. It was really a time to honor our divinely feminine selves. She was a goddess of healing and fertility and childbirth, abundance. The one I do not have I have lots and lots of goddess figures around my office. I did not have one of Bona Dea, but here's a beautiful representation of her. She's also one for wine and celebration. You can see in this image she's holding some grapes and what I believe to be a big wine vessel. And she's also known as Fauna. She was married or consort or brother, sometimes with these ancient goddess stories, myths. We're never quite sure what the connection was, and often they're all of them. She has a relationship with Faunus, and that's where her connection to protecting and guiding and serving animals comes in. So women and animals, all and fecundity in all of its ways. So this is a day, tomorrow actually, it's December 3rd. There's another feast day that happens in May, also for her, but apparently it's like mid-May, but also early December. So she showed up. She raised her hand and wanted to be with us today. That's about as much as I know about her. The other thing that I wanted to bring up, because it really, it's what inspired me to teach you the chant that I'm going to teach you today, is that she, like many of the Roman goddesses, really, frankly, probably goddesses from every tradition, was considered a virgin goddess. Now, what we know, and I think I've talked about this here before, because there are lots of goddesses that were labeled virgin goddesses, and what we believe to be so is that virgin in ancient times didn't necessarily mean that she was celibate. So when we talked about the Vestal virgins, which are other Roman personifications, priestesses actually of Vesta, what it actually meant, and M. Esther Harding, in this wonderful book called Women's Mysteries, that I think was like in the 50s or 60s, talked about that what virgin means in that context is woman who is one unto herself. So that means she doesn't need, and you know, this is what Bona Dea represents, she doesn't need a man to complete her. She is complete unto herself, and in that context is able to move through life in full sovereignty. So that is that's the energy that we're playing with today. And of course I forgot to move my phone, so you just get my phone ringing. So think about that. Where in your life, and this one is really directed really to women, where in your life do you feel fully present? Do you feel you're fully in alignment with your essence, with who you are? And do the men in your life support you to be that way? Do they support you to be your true self, to really stay connected with what I call your circle of one, which is the core of you, your soul spark, your scintilla? So embracing that notion of Bona Dea as a virgin goddess, but really acknowledging that virgin means a strong woman who is one unto herself. The chant that I will teach you is very simple and very easy. Before I do that, I want to make sure, as I said, I wasn't as familiar with her. Let me look at the little scribbles and see if there's other things that I want to let you know about Bona Dea. She also governed divination, which is kind of fun. So tomorrow might be a wonderful day, or on the eve of, hello Mary, on the eve of the celebration of Bona Dea. If you've got any kind of oracle cards, tarot cards, goddess cards, runes, you know, whatever kind of divination, you can, you know, take a book. I call it Flippination. You can take a book and flip through it, you know, a book that's special to you, and read what's on that page. You don't have to have fancy oracular skills or tools, really, in order to engage in divination. So, okay, so she's divination, healing, which I think I mentioned, female sexuality, childbearing. She is an earth goddess, which is kind of cool. Perfect in this time too, because we are headed towards the winter solstice, and we are now literally in the darkest weeks of the year. So this is a time to really, and I'm doing lots of writing about this now in articles that are starting to come out, to really not be afraid to hunker down into the darkness. I know we've been doing a lot of hibernating, a lot of hunkering down in 2020, but we are following the call of nature when we do that. We're following the call of Mother Earth, of Gaia, who I spoke about last week and taught you a Gaia thank you gratitude chant last week. So think about how your connection with your earth energy, which is all about abundance, and that's a big message of Bona Dea as well, how that brings you back to your core self and the essence of who you are. So embracing all of that, and do a little research on your own too about Bona Dea, and find out ways of really, she, like many goddesses, has many ways that she supported people then, and her archetype, who she is today, still supports us. And really coming back to that notion of being one unto yourself, fully complete, whole in your circle of one. So the chant that I will share with you that really brings us to that, as I said, very simple, and it goes like this. Belonging to no one but to herself. Belonging to no one but to herself. Belonging to no one but to herself. And you can just, I told you it was easy. Chants generally are. The idea with chants is that I never give the words, I never write out the words, because I want you, and it's one of the beauties of communicating this way, is that we don't have to, I don't want you to get in your left brain by reading the words. And so when you sing that, you can, to herself, as though it's third person, but it's also very powerful to make it to myself. So it's belonging to no one but to myself. So that's a radical idea for lots of women. And that's the core, that's the essence of self-care, is putting yourself first, belonging to first and foremost yourself, because then you can give and love and support and celebrate all the people and all the projects and all the beings in the world that mean the most to you. But you got to start with yourself. And Bona Dea, virgin, woman who is one unto herself, goddess, Bona Dea, is a wonderful reminder for us in the midst of this holiday season to do this kind of sacred self-care, to do this, what I call sacred self, this practice of sacred self-centeredness. So just run around the house singing, belonging to no one but to myself. And remember that that allows you then to spread the glory of you to many, many other people. So thank you all for being with me, and love to hear about your connections with Bona Dea. We'll see you again here next week. Namaste.